Recently, I've kind of noticed the massive spike in the amount of people expressing that they want to become influencers or content creators, and I want to talk about it. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Hope you're good, hope you're well. This video is a teeny bit different in that usually my videos are like script, research, bullet point, but this one is just pure bullet points. I had a bit of a brain dump yesterday morning in bed when I was thinking about this and when it came to mind. And rather than flesh it out, I'm just gonna speak from the heart. So hopefully you pick up what I'm putting down and I'm able to articulate it properly. So influencing, content creation, influencer marketing is all still relatively new. Even though maybe for about 10 plus years now, it's been somewhat established, it's become like a thing. It's still relative to just industries in general, even the media industry. This part of the media industry is very new. It's still kind of a baby. And I'll admit even now, when I hear people say, I want to be an influencer or I want to become a content creator, I'm left a little bit confused, just a little bit. And I'll explain why. So I grew up in the era of the OG. Like, these were people who weren't necessarily trying to be content creators, they just created content. They weren't trying to be influencers. They were called influencers because they were influencing people. And so naturally there was authenticity. And I think authenticity because they knew nothing else but to be themselves. And I think the reason they knew nothing else but to be themselves was because there was no blueprint. There was no sort of proven method or pattern to success. And so they just had to be themselves. There was also honesty. And again, I think it's because there was no incentive to lie. There weren't really PR teams sort of watching their every move, and social media was still quite new, so people were a bit more forgiving. And so yeah, they were just honest. And then there was also this casualness about them. Again, I think this came from the fact that there was no formula to this, and social media as a whole was quite new, it was quite raw, it's quite rough, and so casual was really the only way to go. And the result of all of this was influence. Being an influencer or a content creator was kind of an adjective or a verb even. I say adjectives because they were more so words that were used to describe people as opposed to them being titles. And so my confusion, I am a bit of a grammar nerd, so it's a bit of an annoying trait, but my confusion comes from the fact that we kind of use it now more as a noun. Like, I want to be a content creator, I want to be an influencer, as opposed to using it as an adjective to follow a noun. I want to be a fashion content creator, I want to be a beauty influencer, or even simply, I want to create fun content, I want to create entertaining content. In my mind, it's kind of like saying, I want to be famous, or I want to be a celebrity, rather than saying, I want to be a famous chef, as opposed to saying, I want to be a famous actor, I want to be a celebrity chef. Do you see the difference? I'm not trying to be nitpicky, I'm trying to explain, like, in my mind, where it goes when I hear that phrase, I want to be an influencer. Now, times change, I know. Times change, industry change, and along with that, language changes. And the thing is, I'm here for it. Content creation, the influencer world has evolved. And so I have to kind of accept that evolution. And I don't have a problem with that. The change now is that there is a blueprint. There is a kind of a faint path that you can follow to become a content creator, to become an influencer. And so it has become a viable career path. And that in itself, I think is great. I think it's good when economies, industries, whatever, open up and there's new ways now to make a living. I think it suits a lot of us, it suits a lot of our ways of working. Some people are just not suited to the 9 to 5 or the typical sort of ways of working, and I think that's great. And I think most importantly, my favorite thing about it is that it really can change people's lives. Like, people who maybe didn't see another way to get out of their situation, and through content creation, through social media, through becoming an influencer, they were able to sort of like turn their lives around. We see it all the time, and I'm here for that. The problem, however, lies in, I think, when you want to succeed in an industry, I think you have to follow the steps to succeed in that industry, or you have to find a better way of getting to your end goal. If you want to practice law, you have to go to law school, you have to pass the bar, or whatever, all that stuff. If you want to be a journalist, I'm sure there are steps. You have to network, you've got to get some work experience, you have to write, you have to put in the hours. And I think the difference with that and this emerging industry is that I think a lot of people think that you can enter and succeed, meanwhile skipping a hella steps. They're creating content with the hopes of making it big and succeeding, but without the community building, without the trust building, without the honing their craft, developing their skills, their niche, what makes them unique. And so I think what's happening is either they're failing. They're failing, or they're left discouraged, like, why is this not working? Or there's influencer fatigue. People are de-influencing, I think is the word. And it's because we're tired. Like, we're tired of seeing content creators and influencers just try to sell us products and almost treat their audience like they're stupid. And I say stupid because it's like they're trying to sort of give off this sort of, we're friends, I'm so authentic, I'm so real, by the way, buy my product. And people are seeing through it. We're seeing through it because there are so many influencers out there now. There is a blueprint, whether you're in the industry or not. You kind of see the path that the successful people take, and you can spot inauthenticity from a mile away. And so it's not working. It's almost like a lawyer, someone wanting to be a lawyer, not taking the steps, not like, you'll be a fraud. Do you know what I mean? That's like illegal. And so I think obviously it's not that deep in this industry, but 9 times out of 10, they're not gonna succeed, or it's just gonna kind of ruin the industry because it's like, oh, I'm sick and tired of seeing influencers try to sell me, I don't know, like this phone case when, I'm just sick of it. The thing is, I think the reason people that want this career path are skipping steps is because deep down, we don't really see it as a career path. We see it as a cheat code. Let's be real. The industry, influencing, content creation is not seen as a career path, it's seen as a cheat code. If it was seen as a legit career path, people would study the steps. People would say, how do I become X, Y, Z? They would see the steps and they would follow them to a T. But instead, I think what we see, not what's actually happening, what we see is people get rich overnight, people just posting like basic stuff and blowing up. That's what we see. That's what we visibly see. And so you think, oh, I mean, am I gonna spend 5, 10 years building my career to get X, Y, Z pay, or am I gonna post for a month and then become famous? And you know me, I love to make up a theory. So I have a theory as to why this particular industry, job, whatever, is seen this way. Psychologically speaking, I think because this career so closely mimics your everyday real life, it makes it look easy. And here's the thing, it is, as in relative to many, many, many careers out there, this career path is easy in a, like, I don't know, if you compare it to being a doctor or an electrician or a builder or a teacher, you might say that, like, if you compare the work they like for like one is harder than the other. But regardless, I think the way that it actually mimics your day-to-day life makes it appear much easier to succeed without following any steps or any blueprint. An example is, you see someone gain 1 million followers through doing their hair, and you're thinking, I do my hair every day. Or you see someone blow up because they vlog themselves waking up and making a latte and going for a run and running errands. And you're thinking, is this not the life I live every single day? And so I think when at face value, people's success looks identical to your life, minus the fact that they had the foresight to just put their phone on a tripod and record it, can you see why so many people want to do it and see it as a cheat code? But going back to the blueprint, if you look at the OGs, the successful OGs, and actually the successful newbies, anyone that's succeeded for the most part, there are steps that are being ignored. Certain people, a Jackie Aina, yes, she posted makeup, and yeah, you do your makeup every day, but there's a difference. Yes, I don't know, Zoella was just vlogging everyday life and you live everyday life, but there was a difference. For the majority of the successful people then and now, there were months, years probably, of groundwork. There were years of community building, of really honing their skills, their niche. There were small little nuances, small little tricks that they kind of learn, and it seems so seamless to you watching it, but in the back end, it's actually genius. And I think this applies to any industry. I think there's an art to making something look easy and effortless, but it's not. Like, there's psychology to marketing that you, if you're not interested in that industry or don't know that industry, are gonna just be completely oblivious to, but you don't know why you love this campaign. But the people who made the campaign know exactly why you love the campaign, because they made it so that you would love the campaign. Teachers who are just so skilled at teaching, the kids don't know that the teacher's like got this crazy sort of method to making them retain knowledge. All they know is that they're retaining the knowledge. But the teacher who's working in the back end knows the techniques and the tricks and whatever that they've put into their lesson plan to make sure the kids get the most out of the lesson plan. Do you get what I'm saying? And when it comes to this industry and the OGs and the success stories and stuff like that, there are small, big, medium things that they have done for months, for years, to build up the groundwork to make them an overnight success or a gradual success or just a success. And those months, those years of community building, of trust building, of skill building is what distinguishes them from the people who don't succeed. And in a nutshell, what they have been honing over those years is authenticity and trust. And that is what grants them the title of influencer, because that authenticity and that trust has given them the ability to influence. A very good example, which I'm sure most of us know, is Melissa's wardrobe. She has years of being a trustworthy sort of source to the point where she could promote a perfume that you can't even smell through your screen. But because she has built up authenticity and trust in her word, you're gonna buy what she tells you to buy, because the what's the word? The receipts, the what's the word I'm looking for? The reviews are there in it. You know that you can trust it. It's a low risk thing to listen to her influence. But riddle me this: how do influencers today avoid being inauthentic when there is literally a blueprint that starts with, oh, you know, connect with your audience, build engagement with your audience, and then ends with sell this product to your audience and we'll give you some money? Do you see how that's a bit of a contradiction? Especially now that the path is so clear for everybody to see. Whether you're in the industry or not, you can clearly see when somebody goes from, I don't know, 0 followers to 100,000 followers, and they go from just general chit chat to, hey, buy this product. You can see the journey. And so how do you avoid, in today's age, if you decide I want to become a content creator of X, Y, and Z, how do you avoid inauthenticity? I personally think it comes down to the why. And actually, that's not even unique to this industry. I think any business owner or whatever will tell you that one of the successful sort of secrets to their success, wait, does that make sense? is understanding their why. So why do you want to be an influencer? Because influencer, to be influential, is an adjective. So to have influence, like what influence what is my question. Influence what? Do you want to influence people to dress better? Do you want to influence people to change the world? Do you want to influence people to laugh? Like, there's no wrong answer to this. I'm not even saying like, oh, to find your why, you must have a deeper, no, it doesn't have to be deep, because there are businesses out there in every industry that are not changing the world. Like, people, I'm sure there's like some $1 million industry out there where they just sell like accessories for your Stanley Cup. Now, I don't think anyone would agree that they're doing anything significant in the world, but people want their Stanley Cups to look cute. So I'm not saying to be an influencer, your why has to be deep and you have to evoke change and you have to be an activist. No, absolutely not. Maybe the content that you want to create is just to make people laugh. It's just to make people smile. It's just to make people think. It doesn't have to be deep, but it has to be a why, in my opinion. When you have a why, you can go about authentically creating content with that as your North Star. And yes, ideally the brand deals and the sponsorships and the monies will follow, but just like any other industry, you have to be willing to put in the time. Lawyers, doctors, actors, singers, ask anyone successful in any industry if they were making a decent, great salary in year 1 or year 5, maybe not even year 10. They had to put in the hours and they had to hone their craft, or they had to put in the time and they had to build their reputation, build their network. And I don't think there's a single industry out there where this doesn't apply, where the people at the top of the industry or the people making big bucks in that industry didn't have to put in time, effort, work, skill, whatever. Now, caveat, I know that there are exceptions to the rule. I know that there are overnight successes, literally overnight successes, and there are people who post the most basic content and yet they still blow up. And the thing is, they are the anomaly. That's the point I'm trying to make. They're not the majority. And also, I think, if we're gonna get deep, I think they are more so a reflection of a wider societal issue. For example, maybe the only reason someone's blown up is because they're beautiful, because they're conventionally attractive. And we know that the world we live in, especially the media industry, reward beauty on a scale that I don't think it necessarily needs to be held up there on the pedestal. Or maybe that person is already rich and well connected, and so their content is just 10 out of 10 on day 1 and people are just intrigued. Or maybe they rage bait and they post controversial stuff and people engage because the algorithm, blah, 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 blah. Now, those are the anomaly. And actually, if you think about it, you have people like that in every industry. Once again, you have Nepo babies who, I don't know, end up in blockbuster films because they are Nepo babies and not because they're successful. You have people who the halo effect kicks in their workplace and they get promoted because they're beautiful. It's not, again, unique to this industry, but I do think it is the exception and not the rule. But yeah, I'm not talking about them, I'm talking about the majority. And so next time you hear someone say, or if you are the person that's saying, I want to be an influencer, I want to be a content creator, I would urge you to not just leave it there. I would urge you to think about it and say, okay, why, what, who, where, why? and then assess if actually you do want to be in the industry, and if so, what do you want to do? And if not even just because like I want to be pretentious about content creation and being an influencer. I think anyone can do it, it's not that deep, but it's more so for your sake, because I don't think the majority of people will succeed if they go in with the mindset of, oh, I just want to be a content creator. I think you have to know what content you want to create. You have to know what influence you want to have. Why do you want to have influence? For what? You can also be a content creator and not have influence and still be successful. That's a thought. You got those user-generated content people. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Oh, I feel like I didn't breathe. Let me know. Let me know if you agree, what you think. If you are in the influencer content creation industry, what are your thoughts? If you're a consumer, what are your thoughts? Are you sick and tired of us? If so, tell me why in the comments down below. As always, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to like, to comment, and to subscribe. And I'll see you next time. Bye.